Welcome to the Tibet Center here at 502 North Ridgewood Road in South Orange, New Jersey. So we will begin with the prayer for the spreading of the teachings throughout the length and breadth of the West, which you'll find in the FAQ section if you scroll down on the Tibet Center website. By the force of the blessings of the non-fallacious three precious gems and of the truth of our pure selfless wishes, may the precious Buddha's teachings flourish and spread to the expanse of all areas throughout the length and breadth of the West. For all the people living there together with their near ones, who have engaged in the teachings and have faith and respect for them, may all conditions adverse to their practice of the pure Dharma be dispelled, and an excellent collection of favorable conditions increase like the waxing moon. And especially for those who work on methods to accomplish the flourishing and spreading of the victorious one's teachings, which are the source of benefit and happiness, may they never be oppressed by masses of interference and adverse conditions, and may this spontaneously happen just as we had hoped and wished. Heart Sutra. Thus have I heard once. The Blessed One was dwelling in the royal domain of the Vulture Peak Mountain, together with a big gathering of great monks and great bodhisattvas. At that time the Blessed One entered the samadhi which examines the dharmas called profound illumination, and at the same time noble Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva Mahasattva, looking at the profound practice of transcendent knowledge, saw the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Then through the inspiration of the Buddha, Venerable Shariputra said to Avalokiteshvara, how should those noble ones learn who wish to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge? And Avalokiteshvara answered, Venerable Shariputra, whoever wishes to follow the profound practice of transcendent knowledge should look at it like this, seeing the five skandhas in their natural emptiness. Form is empty, emptiness itself is form. Emptiness is not separate from form, form is not separate from emptiness. In the same way, feeling, discriminating awareness, compositional factors, and consciousness are empty. Thus all the dharmas are empty and have no characteristics. They are unborn and unceasing. They are not impure or pure. They neither decrease nor increase. Therefore, since there is emptiness, there is no form, no feeling, no discriminating awareness, no compositional factors, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no appearance, no sound, no smell, no taste, no sensation, no objects of mind, no quality of sight, no quality of hearing, no quality of smelling, no quality of tasting, no quality of sensing, no quality of thought, no quality of mind consciousness. There are no nidanas from ignorance to old age and death, nor their wearing out. There is no suffering, no cause of suffering, no ending of suffering, and no path, no wisdom, no attainment, no non-attainment. Therefore, since there is no attainment, the bodhisattvas abide by means of transcendent knowledge, and since there is no obscurity of mind, they have no fear, they transcend falsity and pass beyond the bounds of sorrow. All the Buddhas who dwell in the past, present, and future, by means of transcendent knowledge, fully and clearly awaken to unsurpassed, true, complete enlightenment. Therefore, the mantra of transcendent knowledge, the mantra of deep insight, the unsurpassed mantra, the unequaled mantra, the mantra which calms all suffering, should be known as truth, for there is no deception. In transcendent knowledge, the mantra is proclaimed, Tadyata Om Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhiswaha. O Shariputra, this is how a bodhisattva Mahasattva should learn profound transcendent knowledge. Then the Blessed One arose from that samadhi and praised the bodhisattva Mahasattva Avalokiteshvara, saying, Good, O son of noble family, profound transcendent knowledge should be practiced just as you have taught, and the Tathagatas will rejoice. When the Blessed One had said this, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara, that whole gathering in the world with its gods, humans, asuras, and Gandharvas, their hearts full of joy, praised the words of the Blessed One. Now we generate bodhicitta. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. With the wish to free all beings, I shall always go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha until I reach full enlightenment. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the wisdom's presence, I generate the mind intent on full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. As long as space endures, as long as sentient beings remain, until then may I too remain to dispel the miseries of the world. Okay, let's do a rosary of Om Mani Padme Hum, thinking of developing the wish to remove the suffering of all others. Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum, Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. So, we have been discussing Ethics for the New Millennium by His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and where have we reached? Everyone has their books.
I can go get
No,
one.
no.
I haven't memorized.
So,
Should we go get it? No. Just in your car. Oh, it's in the back seat in the Trader Joe's bag. You need the key. You have the key with you, right?
No. Oh, you do.
The phone.
so we'd reached page 20. Here I have a note.
I know that. That's right after 19.
It is doubtful whether globally even, so His Holiness was talking about how many people are actually religiously inclined.
Right.
Though a majority of the Earth's nearly 6 billion human beings, so this was 25 years ago, more
And
than
we
25
went 2
years.
billion in 25 years.
May claim allegiance to one faith, tradition, or another, the influence of religion on people's lives is generally marginal, especially in the developed world. It is doubtful whether globally even a billion are what I would call dedicated religious practitioners. That is, people who try on a daily basis faithfully to follow the principles and precepts of their faith. So we can say that what's going on?
I have no idea. I gave up. So many people outside, I think they're jostling to get in. And someone's supposed to keep order out there and they're not.
That's you, your voice.
Oh, gosh. So people who try on a daily basis faithfully to follow the principles and precepts of their faith, that's what a religious person is. What do you think of that as a definition of, yes? We have agreement here.
On a daily basis, yeah, very few.
You have to define what you mean by faith. I mean, people believe all kinds of
Faithfully to follow the principles and precepts of their faith. So,
Their
of their
assumed faith or whatever, yeah. And already
Here, I think he's referring to like
Religions.
established religious traditions.
Yeah.
The rest remain, in this sense, non-practicing. Those who are dedicated practitioners, meanwhile, follow a multiplicity of religious paths. From this, it becomes clear that, given our diversity, no single religion satisfies all humanity. We may also conclude that we humans can live quite well without recourse to religious faith. So what becomes the line between religious faith and non-religious faith? How would you define the line between those
code
two?
of ethics, I would say.
But a code of ethics doesn't have to be religious.
No, it doesn't, but I mean, the difference between those who practice with the religion and without, they both would have to have a code of ethics, otherwise you couldn't call it a practice. I'm thinking that way.
So what's the
And-
line between the two?
One
Those
is,
who engage in a code of ethics without having religious
right,
faith.
without a
and those-
gathering and all that, not a, you know,
Maybe to believe in something that you cannot see, that you cannot perceive with your senses.
But that can't be a definition because, you know, the
you want a definition of,
Leaning Tower of Pisa is something that you cannot see.
I don't believe in it, and I'll say see it.
unless you're there. No, you're talking about those who have their own codes, the non-practitioner, the non-organized practitioner. Is that what you're looking for? What's the difference between them?
How do we define this religious thing? I'm just curious as
I
we're
would say
discussing
some
this.
have a set given to them program by their religion that they recognize. The others are winging it, you know, sort of.
I think here he must mean that it's referring to established religious
Yeah.
traditions.
Yeah.
So like when somebody would say, I am a Buddhist, I am a Christian, I am a Jew, I am a Muslim. Like,
Yeah. So no, but
so
my
there's some list that you can make of established religious traditions and people who
And you
identify
fit
as
in, yeah.
practitioners of those.
and then there are those who don't
Yes.
and who lead very good, generous, kind, virtuous lives,
They have their
abiding
own
by their own code of
moral
ethics.
compass, you could say, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, so what was your question here? I'm sorry.
What's the line? What?
Between the people who don't follow an established religious tradition but are good by the standard of being kind and compassionate, and the people who do.
Hmm?
I mean, I think it's just in the definition, right? That if they would say that they follow an established religious tradition. So I must not understand your question.
Okay.
Thank you, Darren. I don't know what planet you came from, Darren, but it must be a good
Some
place.
sort of esoteric belief? I don't know. Some sort of
I don't have an answer. I'm
Oh,
just,
yeah, yeah.
since His Holiness made this division. Those who are dedicated practitioners, meanwhile, follow a multiplicity of religious paths. From this, it becomes clear that, given our diversity, no single religion satisfies all humanity. We may also conclude that we humans can live quite well without recourse to religious faith. These may seem unusual statements, coming as they do from a religious figure. I am, however, Tibetan before I am Dalai Lama, and I am human before I am Tibetan. So while as Dalai Lama I have a special responsibility to Tibetans, and as a monk I have a special responsibility towards furthering interreligious harmony, as a human being I have a much larger responsibility toward the whole human family, which indeed we all have. So we all have a responsibility towards the whole human family. And since the majority do not practice religion, I'm concerned to try to find a way to serve all humanity without appealing to religious faith. So what His Holiness is looking for is an ethical way of acting, and also something that he can share with others that is not tied to a particular religious tradition. So we have to work at understanding what religious is, which His Holiness goes into. Actually, I believe that if we consider the world's major religions from the widest perspective, we find that they are all Buddhism, Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Judaism, Sikhism, Zoroastrianism, and the others, directed towards helping human beings achieve lasting happiness. So here is given one aspect of the what a religious way would be. It is working at directing or helping human beings achieve lasting happiness. And each of them is...
That is the key sentence. That's the answer.
In my opinion, and each of them is capable of facilitating this. Under such circumstances, a variety of religions, each of which promotes the same basic values after all, is both desirable and useful. So, Chola Rinpoche used to talk about how, is Darren already back there?
Darren? Nope.
Evanescent.
Each of which promotes the same basic values after all, is both, so it is, under such circumstances, a variety of religions is both desirable and useful. So Rinpoche used to talk about how you wouldn't want, not everyone likes the same kind of food. You want a variety of foods to be able to cater to the tastes of different people. Today I called
nourish you.
one of our monks, ex-Ratu monks who works at Whole Foods, and he's head of the kitchen at Whole Foods on Columbus Circle, and I left him a message saying, well, happy Thanksgiving. I suppose that you'll be having turkey with your family, and he sent me a message back saying, turkey has no taste. And
he's become a chef.
It was interesting because he didn't say it in some. He wasn't expressing his own taste. This was a statement of fact.
Professional now.
He expressed it with total confidence and authority.
And he'll say, yes, there's no spice.
That's right.
So the whole idea, I find going to these buffet places, such as you go to Whole Foods and you have all those different,
Right,
and
the
you-
hot table. And
2 or 3 people together go and put their food into the little container to then sit and eat. And it fascinates me that everyone's dish is different.
Yeah.
Everyone has a totally, when you're really left to your own desires, they're totally different.
Yeah.
It's not that, I mean, when you have a sort of buffet situation in India and you have 10 dishes, you'll see people put each of the 10, you know, yes, and it becomes a little mound of things.
Everyone takes everything.
Yes.
Yeah. Here they don't. No, some load up on salads, some with just meat.
I think it is important at one of these buffets, though, that you eat the things that are food and not the tablecloths and the plastic flowers. I mean this in the context of the metaphor.
What is this gentleman saying?
I'm saying that,
Well,
like,
the fellow here.
I'm
Yeah.
saying that
He's in the
that
crowd.
there
Stand
are
up.
that not.
Identify yourself, please.
I never do that.
Don't worry, Ice
Yeah.
isn't here.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
I mean that, like in the context of the metaphor, the food is authentic religious traditions.
Oh,
So what I'm saying is, like, if you're going to mix and match, you know, I mean, you want to take the parts that actually work, which is easier said than done, because the whole point is that we don't know what the parts are
Mhm.
that work.
good
Yeah.
point.
But the whole idea that if you only have one kind of food out there, it's not that everyone
Yes.
likes it, and that's something that is hard. I think that when, you know, within ancient religious traditions, it was taken for granted that the community all had one set of beliefs, one set of values, and everyone shared that. And then you go
At
over
least
to the next
superficially.
group and it's all the same. Yes. So, not that I always felt like this. When I was younger and living in Tibet, I believed in my heart that Buddhism was the best way. I told myself it would be marvelous if everyone converted. Yet this was due to ignorance. We Tibetans had, of course, heard of other religions, but what little we knew about them came from Tibetan translations of secondary Buddhist sources. Naturally, these were focused on those aspects of other religions which are more open to debate from a Buddhist perspective. This was not because their Buddhist authors wished deliberately to caricature their opponents. Rather, it reflected the fact that they had no need to address all those aspects with which they had no argument, since in India, where they wrote, the works they were discussing were available in their entirety. Unfortunately, this was not the case in Tibet. There were no translations of these other scriptures available. So, yeah, but in Tibet they had the different sects, but you joined a particular, you became a Nyingma because your family was Nyingma, because the community within which you were born was Nyingma. It was very much like that.
We vehemently disagreed with each other on some points, but
Oh, and there were, you know, old feuds between this valley and that valley, and they sent their protector deities to attack each other. And
Too much free time.
as I grew up, I was gradually able to learn more about other world religions, especially after going into exile. I began to meet people who, having dedicated their entire lives to different faiths, some through prayer and meditation, others through actively serving others, had acquired a profound experience of their particular tradition. Such personal exchanges helped me recognize the enormous value of each of the major faith traditions and led me to respect them deeply. For me, Buddhism remains the most precious path. It corresponds best with my personality, but that does not mean I believe it to be the best religion for everyone any more than I believe it necessary for everyone to be a religious believer. So here His Holiness is even suggesting that it's not necessary to have religious belief to be a good person. And, I mean, religious belief as opposed to being a good person, the whole idea that...
He's very bold to do that.
I mean, I think it is undeniable in the modern world that there's a very large number of non-religious good people. It's not rare.
Yeah, the world would have exploded already without them.
And we've already discussed the whole idea that the scientists, that there is within the scientific world a belief that it in itself possesses a religious quality to the scientists. And whether that is valid or not, it's the faith
belief
that
system.
people, yeah. Of course, both as a Tibetan and as a monk, I've been brought up according to and educated in the principles, the precepts, and the practice of Buddhism. I cannot therefore deny that my whole thinking is shaped by my understanding of what it means to be a follower of the Buddha. However, my concern in this book is to try to reach beyond the formal boundaries of my faith. I want to show that there are indeed some universal ethical principles which could help everyone to achieve the happiness we all aspire to. Some people may feel that in this I am attempting to propagate Buddhism by stealth. But while it is difficult for me to conclusively to refute the claim, this is not the case. So the aim of this book and the aim of His Holiness's aim at this point in his life is to show that there are indeed some universal ethical principles which could help everyone to achieve the happiness we all aspire to. And what would those universal ethical principles be?
Altruism? Or should I say more?
Sure.
Compassion, loving kindness, patience, perseverance.
I sounds a little Buddhist, would you say?
Ahimsa.
Yeah.
What do we mean when we say ethical principles here? So things like
ahimsa.
love and compassion, these are feelings that a person would have, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is that an ethical principle, or does it mean something else?
So how would you, ethics are our sort of code of conduct.
It's a definition of what is considered good.
Yeah. Good in terms of behavior.
Yeah, actions. What classifies an action as
He always says ahimsa. They at least don't do any harm.
So what are ethical principles? So you're asking about the word principle?
Yeah, so when you say what are the ethical principles, I'm asking the meaning of the word ethical principle. So like, for example, an ethical principle would be that the intent behind the action is important.
No, but the all right, so ethical principles would be that a, a code of behavior.
Yeah, I think I understand. So what if somebody genuinely believes something is would suppose I have this hypothetical situation. I have two people, person A and person B. Person A witnesses person B suffering, okay, and they feel compassion towards them, and they are driven to action by this compassion, and they believe that one action is going to help person B, but they are mistaken, and that action actually harms person B, say quite severely. So this happens all the time, right? I mean, I can come up with concrete examples, but whatever. Any concrete example here would involve probably real people thinking that the first action is genuinely helpful when it is in fact harmful.
Yes.
So I would rather keep it abstract. So I mean, you would generally say that even though person A was motivated by compassion, although they are motivated by compassion, they caused harm to person B, and so it is not a good. Just being motivated by compassion by itself cannot be sufficient for an action to be considered good.
So this is a tricky one.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is basically the hardest.
So initially, we would say that it is the motivation
Right.
of the actor
And I
that
think
determines.
when you're giving advice to another person about how to be a better person, I think that statement makes perfect sense, which is what Buddhism tends to do. It's kind of, Buddhism tends to be very therapeutic in its approach. It's not so much concerned with universal principles as how to help us in the immediate now.
The mind, yeah.
And just saying, try to cultivate love and compassion is basically always a
Safe.
good thing to say, right? But if you're gonna talk about ethical principles, right? So if you're asking for like how to actually classify actions as good or bad, then you're asking for something beyond therapeutic statements that you would give to individual people, right?
Yes. So even I mean the code of ethics that you whether it's the 10 refraining from the 10 deadly sins, or in Buddhism refraining from the 10 non-virtuous actions, you are it is applying those, it is acting in accordance with those, though there are sort of higher spiritual levels where it would be wrong to not engage in those non-virtuous actions, because that would be the most beneficial way of helping. So it's not that any action is inherently wrong. What bringing to the action a virtuous attitude and the wisdom to determine that is the best thing.
So that's how I've always understood the Buddhist answer to that, is the whole thing about the two wings of the bird, right? That you need to have the compassion in order to act, and wisdom in order to act correctly so that you actually help. And if you have true compassion, you're going to realize your lack of wisdom and you're going to start cultivating it. So I mean, but that in itself must be an ethical principle, right? So there must be a second ethical principle in addition to being motivated by compassion. That second wing, like how do you formulate
To
it as an
develop
ethical
yourself
principle?
is an obligation in Buddhism.
So we
So
can
you
say
know that
wise ethical behavior.
Why is ethical behavior?
Wise.
Wow, wise.
Wise ethical behavior.
Right.
Wise selfless behavior.
Is ethical. That it needs to have both things.
It's the highest ethics, maybe.
Yeah.
Because it not only develops you, what your good motivation does, but it helps society. So you help yourself with a good motivation, but you don't know if you're helping others. I gave somebody money and he went and blew up a building with the money, something like that. So you don't know that.
I
So
can
it's-
come up with
The
examples.
morality we have to have is develop our minds.
Yes, I can come up with examples where it's hard for me to believe that given how terrible the results were, even if the person's motivation was good, that
Yeah.
that's actually good for them that they did that. I mean, I can come up with examples of people who plausibly acted because they genuinely believed that they were doing the right thing, but the consequences of those actions were so appalling that it is hard to imagine.
On some level, when we are working, for example, to recognize that just as I wish to be happy and wish not to suffer, each and every sentient being wishes to be happy and not to suffer, we have to work towards understanding that what motivates them is a wish to be happy. And within a certain ignorant context, their pursuit of happiness and the actions that they engage in pursuit of that happiness cause suffering around them. But their motivation is not necessarily to cause suffering, it's to fulfill their wish for happiness. And I find that to really, really think about the fact that we are the same in wishing to be happy and wishing helps.
Saves a lot of aggravation. Answers a lot of frustrating questions. Why is he that way? Why don't they don't know what they're doing, but they think they.
But we don't know what we're doing,
We
but
don't
we think
either.
we do. And we have to realize that we are just as ignorant.
Yeah, and also when it comes, feeling genuine compassion towards another person or animal or whatever is not that unusual of an experience. I mean, but I mean, I do think it is really easy to think that you're helping but actually be hurting, and I think that's like that. That is on my mind a lot, me personally. That like, it's one thing, like even if you wish to help, how do you know it is help?
I would think that that would be particularly difficult as a parent.
Yeah, there are many examples of that. Yes.
The rest
Or
of us
you
don't.
introduce a woman she really looks for a companion, and you introduce this nice guy. This will make her happy. And he turns out to be a monster.
Well, I mean, at the end of
You
the
know, and
day,
then what? You didn't know that about it.
you have to do something.
This happens.
And, like,
Yeah, I don't. It's tough not being omniscient. It really is.
sure. I mean, but that's leading us down the Buddhist path.
I
now.
know.
Yes. But we're trying to stay away from that in this book.
Really difficult. You're right.
That's a religious thing you just said.
Yeah. It's
Well,
true.
Omniscient can be an ultimate goal, but no matter what religion we're following, I think that there's an understanding that the wiser we are, the more objectively we understand situations, the more helpful we're able to be, the more skillfully we're able to apply our ability to actually help.
I guess the point that I'm trying to make is, in my opinion, and please disagree with me, it is what you would call an ethical principle that we are obligated to do our best to cultivate what you're calling this like wisdom, like knowing what will actually help, being able to be objective. That we are, in my opinion, it is a moral imperative to cultivate this.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I can say yes, but I think that the initial, I think it's important for us to recognize that we are so fundamentally selfish, that our attitude to the world is so about pleasing ourselves, that the initial steps are towards developing concern for others.
Yes.
Now, that initial concern for others is going to lack wisdom. The initial concern for others is going to simply be breaking down that fundamental self-cherishing that guides us.
Yes, yes, yes. And so that was the earlier point, that like that statement is always right. That telling people, telling somebody cultivate love and compassion, it's always
Let's
right.
even
It's,
forget telling somebody.
More
Let's
basic.
just
Yeah, by somebody I mean me. Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Again, you're a father. You have to cultivate this in someone else. And
He's a good father.
Why? I mean, to be honest with you, my experience is that kids mostly follow your example.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
mhm.
like, okay, you know, we've been reading a lot, so my son is reading all the time now because he saw us do it. Like, kids follow your example.
So I want to show that there are indeed some universal ethical principles which could help everyone to achieve the happiness we all aspire to. Actually, I believe there is an important distinction to be made between religion and spirituality. Religion, I take to be concerned with faith in the claims to salvation of one faith tradition or another, an aspect of which is acceptance of some form of metaphysical or supernatural reality, including perhaps an idea of heaven or nirvana. So that's religion. So how do you feel about that definition of religion? So it's concerned with a faith in the claim of salvation and an acceptance of some sort of metaphysical or supernatural reality.
Different from the one you're living in. I mean, there is a better.
Supernatural in the sense of beyond whatever is immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
And also beyond death, something happens after death. A lot of people don't have a religious belief, they just believe that there's nothing
No,
after
yeah, I
death.
know.
Can you name and what you would consider an authentic religious tradition that doesn't have some form of many lives belief?
Well, Christianity or I don't know.
Christianity has many lives belief.
Can you turn the sound off in the?
Christians believe you are reborn in heaven.
Okay.
I think Christians have a many lives belief.
They
Jews
have a
many lives.
reincarnation type of,
Yeah. I
they
mean, I
don't
think
talk
that's a
many
many lives.
previous, because they can't, it comes out of a creator's
If you
own.
ask a Christian, they would laugh in your face and say, no, that's not what we
Yeah.
believe in, it's not another life.
But
Depends on the
there was
Christian.
some place to go after this, up or down, and that's it, they close the door on
Yeah,
that.
it's
And
not
they don't
another
talk
life,
about
right? It's-
previous lives, because
Some
God
Christian
created
traditions
you.
did. Some Christian traditions
some Christians
did.
do, maybe they're not the mass-produced religion that I was at,
Sure,
you
sure.
know, the generic or whatever.
So yes, I'm sure that on some metaphysical level you will find in all religions some kind of interpretation that would include past and future lives, yes.
Okay.
I would think,
That's
but
what
I don't
Wallace
know
claimed.
enough about the history
Wallace
of religion.
claims that he could show you all these things that Buddhists have, all the religions have, if you look carefully.
And you have, certain interpreters of Buddhism who say that the Buddha never talked about past and future lives and that there's nothing that you can point at that we have to concentrate on this life. Stephen Batchelor
Yes,
makes that a
Mr.
real
Atheist.
point of his.
he claims himself to be an atheist.
But textually, I think that's really very difficult, right? I mean, the actual sutras are just filled with.
Yeah, they make an example from the past. You did this.
Yeah. I
So-
mean, of course, you can always say that the Buddha was just saying that for the sake of his audience. I mean, you can always say that.
Yeah, that's a legal loophole.
Connected with this
Connected.
are religious teachings or dogma, ritual, prayer, and so on. Spirituality, I take to be concerned with those qualities of the human spirit, such as love and compassion, patience, tolerance, forgiveness, contentment, a sense of responsibility, a sense of harmony, which bring happiness to both self and others.
Yeah, that's a big point. I have that on the line. So that's what
Well,
we're going
ritual and prayer, along with the questions of nirvana and salvation, are directly connected to religious faith. These inner qualities need not be.
Mhm. However,
There is thus no reason why the individual should not develop them, even to a high degree, without recourse to any religious or metaphysical belief system. So here we're extracting. I mean, I don't think we can talk about religion without the spiritual element or component, but spirituality can be engaged in without the religious dogmatic, being outside the religious dogmatic framework, yes?
yes.
But you need to establish the value of doing so in some other way, then, right?
Established.
Well, isn't that contained within the spiritual?
Okay, yeah, under that, yes.
This is why I sometimes say that religion is something we can perhaps do without. What we cannot do without are the paramitas would be considered virtue ethics, whereas the 10 virtues would be considered as consequentialist ethical principles. Can you decipher this?
Still a long way from the pyramids would be considered virtue ethics.
This is why I sometimes
Only
say,
ethical principle because there's a consequence to your actions. That's what he's saying.
Well, consequentialism is what I was referring. I think that's the kind of like Western philosophy name for what I was referring. The consequences of your actions are important for the ethical status of
Right.
your action.
I think there's also a Buddhist school called consequentialists.
So,
that's something else.
the Buddhist, what would he say, Joe?
Consequentialists.
Oh, the school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prasangikas.
Pra.
So the perfections, the paramitas, would be considered virtue ethics.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They don't say if you don't practice generosity, you can, this is bad, but 10 non-virtues say you do this, you can have a problem.
Whereas
So I
the
see
10
it's-
virtues would be considered as consequentialist ethical principles.
Also, the other thing is,
Yeah, I agree with that.
religion is always developing, right? It's never staying the same. So maybe this whole idea of being a virtuous person, that in itself can become sort of a new religion.
So, but we're making the line whether we are engaging in actions with a wish to help others rather than ourselves. Do you feel that that's a, when you look at us and you look at animals, insects, suddenly we are assuming we have this huge responsibility because it is only we who have the ability to actually think beyond the instinctual, selfish, or self-cherishing motivation. And they help, they care for their offspring and their, but I don't know to what extent they can work towards.
Oh, to work, okay, yeah.
Somewhere he said, or one of the other lamas said that animals are better off at taking care of themselves and their own happiness than we are. They know best how to make themselves temporarily pleasant.
Then we are able
We
to
are
help
able
ourselves
even-
or
yeah,
to help
even
them.
then we are able to help ourselves. They have more skill in the day-to-day seeking of pleasure and avoiding of pain than we
Especially
are.
cats.
It looks like it. The temporary things, I think.
This is why I sometimes say that religion is something we can perhaps do without. What we cannot do without are these basic spiritual qualities. So going back,
This is the theme of the
the
book.
qualities of the human spirit, such as love, compassion, patience, tolerance, forgiveness, contentment, and a sense of responsibility, a sense of harmony, which bring happiness to both self and others. Those are the
That's the human ideal. Animals are not concerned with others. Maybe they're young, that's it.
these are the
They don't care.
basic spiritual qualities. Those who practice religion would, of course, be right to say that such qualities or virtues are fruits of genuine religious endeavor, and that religion, therefore, has everything to do with developing them and with what may be called spiritual practice. So what is your answer to that?
I'm sorry, answer to what?
Would be right to say.
What specifically?
They're saying everything good in the world is a result of religious
Endeavors to engage
Oh,
in
that-
spiritual practice.
They
Well,
get-
I think the fact that they can be fruits of authentic spiritual practices, a religious practice, is undeniable. If you're
Exactly.
saying that that
Yes.
is the only way to develop them, I mean, that's just,
So religious
Obviously
faith
not.
demands spiritual practice. Yet it seems there is much confusion, as often among religious believers or among non-believers, concerning what this actually consists of. The unifying characteristic of the qualities I've described as spiritual may be said to be some level of concern for others' well-being. So he's put it, now he's defined just what that spiritual,
others' well-being.
yeah.
Shen, what is this?
Some level of concern for others' well-being. Shen pengisem. Shen meaning other, pen is to benefit. The mind that is concerned with benefiting others. The thought to be of help to others. And when we think about them, we see that each of the qualities noted is defined by an implicit concern for others' well-being. Moreover, the one who is compassionate, loving, patient, tolerant, forgiving, and so on, to some extent recognizes the potential impact of their actions on others, and orders their conduct accordingly. Thus, spiritual practice, according to this description, involves, on the one hand, acting out of concern for others' well-being. On the other hand, it entails transforming ourselves so that we become more readily disposed to do so. To speak of spiritual practice in any terms other than these is meaningless. Okay, so
A bomb.
what is
that's a very consequentialist view, actually.
Of the person hurting.
So I'll repeat the fact that, you know, His Holiness is stating these things, and we're discussing them in a very objective manner. I want to go back to that sort of instinctual, self-cherishing way we behave. And, you know, you were saying something that was very beautiful last week when you said, in your week, to talk about these things, you only have this time when you come here to do so. And talking about these things becomes a vehicle, a method for pushing ourselves beyond the instinctual, normal, worldly, selfish way that is the accepted way in our society. I mean, the whole mechanism, the whole structure of our society is geared towards feeding me.
All the force factors to me.
And here we're talking about the idea that the essential spiritual ingredient is working to be concerned with others. That's really working
and then
against.
Moving ourselves with that in mind first.
Yeah, that's the part two, is working at actually working on ourselves to be able to do that.
Being genuinely concerned with others, not being concerned with others because it'll make them like you more.
That's a
or
tricky
because-
one, isn't it? Very tricky. You gotta watch yourself.
Yeah, and it's interesting, you got to watch yourself, but you also have to make, you know, one of the enticements that they discuss to, you know, if you want to be intelligently selfish, benefit
Right.
others,
Wise,
they
selfish
say.
person.
But that should not be your ultimate.
But it is. Well,
So,
it's all good.
so no, I'm coming back to the fact that we are sitting here discussing these things, thinking about these things, is already rare. I mean, here we
Rare.
sit. I realize it's very crowded, and I think the people in the back can hardly hear us. But
No, some nodded, I could tell.
Well, it's Thanksgiving. I mean, it's usually more people.
They're out there. Some people delayed their flights just because.
so, on that note,
Just Hong Kong fire victims.
Hong Kong
Oh,
fire victims, the
36
people
of
in
us.
Washington, D.C., yeah.
Yeah, the two fellows. The guy who shot the people was Afghan.
The Sutra of the Recollection of the Noble Three Jewels. I prostrate to the Omniscient One. Thus the Buddha Bhagavat Tathagata Arhat Samyak Sambuddha, the learned and virtuous one, the Sugata, the knower of the world, the charioteer and tamer of beings, the unsurpassable one, the teacher of devas and humans is the Buddha Bhagavat. The Tathagata is in accord with all merit. He does not waste the roots of virtue. He is completely ornamented with all patience. He is the basis of the treasures of merit. He is adorned with the minor marks. He blossoms with the flowers of the major marks. His activity is timely and appropriate. Seeing him, he is without disharmony. He brings true joy to those who long with faith. His knowledge cannot be overpowered. His strength cannot be challenged. He is the teacher of all sentient beings. He is the father of bodhisattvas. He is the king of noble ones.
He is the guide of those who journey to the city of Nirvana.
He possesses immeasurable wisdom. He possesses inconceivable confidence. His speech is completely pure. His melody is pleasing. One never has enough of seeing him. His form is incomparable. He's not staying by the realm of desire. He's not staying by the realm of form. He's not affected by the formless realm. He's completely liberated from suffering. He's completely and utterly liberated from the skandhas. He is not possessed with dhatus. His ayatanas are controlled. He's completely cut the knots. He's completely liberated from the extreme torment. He's liberated from craving. He's crossed over the river. He's perfected in all the wisdoms. He abides in the wisdom of the Buddha Bhagavats who arise in the past, present, and future. He does not abide in nirvana. He abides in the ultimate perfection. He dwells on the bhumi where he sees all sentient beings. All these are the perfect virtues of the greatness of the Buddha Bhagavat. The holy Dharma is good at the beginning, good in the middle, and good at the end. Its meaning is excellent, its words are excellent, it is uncorrupted, it is completely perfect and completely pure, it completely purifies. The Bhagavat teaches the Dharma well, it brings complete vision, it is free from sickness, it is always timely, it directs one further. Seeing it fulfills one's purpose, it brings discriminating insight for the wise. The Dharma which is taught by the Bhagavad is revealed properly in the Vinaya. It is renunciation. It causes one to arrive at perfect enlightenment. It is without contradiction. It is pithy. It is trustworthy and puts an end to the journey. As for the Sangha of the great Yana, they enter completely, they enter insightfully, they enter straightforwardly, they enter harmoniously, they are worthy of veneration with joined palms. They are worthy of receiving prostration. They are a field of glorious merit. They are completely capable of receiving all gifts. They are an object of generosity. They are a great object of complete generosity. The protector who possesses great kindness, the omniscient teacher, the basis of oceans of merit and virtue, I prostrate to the Tathagata. Pure, the cause of freedom from passion, virtuous, liberating from the lower realms. This alone is the supreme ultimate truth. I prostrate to the Dharma, which is peace. Having been liberated, they show the path to liberation. They are fully dedicated to the disciplines. They are a holy field of merit and possess virtue. I prostrate to the Sangha. I prostrate to the Buddha, the leader. I prostrate to the Dharma, the protector. I prostrate to the Sangha, the community. I prostrate respectfully and always to these three. The Buddha's virtues are inconceivable, the Dharma's virtues are inconceivable, the Sangha's virtues are inconceivable. Having faith in these inconceivables, therefore the fruitions are inconceivable. May they be born in a completely pure realm. I will read the 8 verses on training the mind. With the determination to accomplish the highest welfare of all sentient beings who surpass even a wish-granting jewel, I will learn to hold them supremely dear. When I associate with others, I will learn to think of myself as the lowest amongst all, and respectfully hold others to be supreme from the very depths of my heart. In all actions I will learn to search into my mind, and as soon as I arises, endangering myself and others, I will firmly face and avert it. I will learn to cherish ill-natured beings, and those oppressed by strong misdeeds and sufferings, as if I had found a precious treasure difficult to find. When others out of jealousy treat me badly, with abuse, slander, and so on, I will learn to take all loss and offer the victory to them. When the one whom I have benefited with great hope unreasonably hurts me very badly, I will learn to view that person as an excellent spiritual guide. In short, I will learn to offer to everyone without exception all help and happiness directly and indirectly, and respectfully take upon myself all harm and suffering of my mothers. I will learn to keep all these practices undefiled by the stains of the 8 worldly concerns, and by understanding all phenomena as like illusions, be released from the bondage of attachment. Now a prayer for the swift return. Exalted wisdom of all victors gathered in a drop, sole refuge manifest in the form of the one wearing saffron robes, Guru Lobsang Tuwam Dorje Chan, please bear witness here today that our prayers may be fulfilled. We bespeak the great torch of doctrine, accomplishing from long ago the vast ways of aspirational prayers, Lord of speech of the Victor Losang's teachings, spreading them to the ends of the earth by means of explanation and practice. The holding the commitment, I will invite all beings to be my guests in unsurpassed great awakening. Yet you have withdrawn the activities of the form body that serves the welfare of others. Is that worthy of the supreme among beings, the Bodhisattvas? Though impossible for you till sickly existence end, to abandon your commitment to liberate all beings, we beseech the new son of Nirmanakaya to swiftly return from the realm of Dharmakaya, brought forth by bodhicitta and drawn by 7 steeds. Having reached the far limits of scholarship, religious life, and goodness, please come swiftly as an unrivaled supreme emanation, full holder of the sage's teachings and wish-fulfilling jewel. Return as the glory of Losang Tenpe, magnificent truth of the 3 precious jewels, Mahakala, Karmayama, and Srimati Devi, and the ocean of Dharma protectors. May you spontaneously fulfill our wish, the swift blossoming of the reincarnation's fresh moonlight face. So happy Thanksgiving to everyone.
Thank you
And,
very much, Nikki.
On Saturday, we will have here in South Orange the White Tara Sadhana
At 1 o'clock.
at 1 o'clock. If you take the 12:11 train from Penn Station to Mountain Station, you will get here on time.